Hey, welcome to the October issue of MyRealTalk with...
You're too boring. You don't bring the energy. You gotta bring the energy.
Welcome to the October edition of MyRealTalk with...
Kiara McLaughlin.
and Roger Southam, your property experts.
Let's get to it. Okay, so for this episode, we're gonna cover MyRealtor team. So many new things happening.
A lot of things happening.
And then we're also gonna talk about who is the real client when it comes to sellers and agents. And the third topic will be the bank interest rates. A lot of people are concerned with the interest rates going up, and we're just gonna
Shoot our thoughts on that one for you.
indeed.
So should we start with what's going on with MyRealtor and all the exciting things we've got going?
Yeah, it's lit.
It's lit. It's lit. What does that actually mean?
Like it's awesome. Like it's a good thing. Like it's lit.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's awesome. We now have an expanded team, and it'll be expanding further as we go through the end of the year, which is super exciting. So we have Lauren Steele joined us now, so that makes up a team of 5 property experts coming out from MyRealtor. And what we'll be encompassing, actually I tell you, I've got to do a sidetrack. The conversations in the office are just brilliant now. We've got American, Caribbean and English, and we are sitting looking at each other sometimes with what we come out with of like, what are you talking about?
I understand. You guys don't understand. I understand clearly, you know? Just saying.
Anyway, so super exciting news. Over the last month, we have got some new listings coming through, but more exciting than that, we've now adapted our Strata Light management service into the first brand new complex of 32 units at Allure up on Tropical Gardens.
What a beautiful development. Huh?
It's a stunning development.
So beautiful.
One of the only developments I've ever seen in my life where the artist impression is identical to what the building is.
So let me translate for anyone who didn't understand what he just said. Hold on, the building came out exactly like the renderings.
So we've got 32 units there, 3 beds and 2 beds, and we're running our Strata Light service, which means we're doing all the admin, all the running of the strata, all the management, but doing it in a low cost effective way using technology to make it efficient and effective for the strata owners. So that's now up and running, and we've got some more projects to come through utilizing that. We're expanding our listings, and we're up to what, 23 listings at the moment? It's great. But then dropping back, of course, so it keeps fluctuating because we want to be selling them as well as just listing them. So yeah, so that's all happening, and we've got a new person joining in December, all being well, who'll be coming in on the management side, and then we're also going into house management, which I suspect we might do next month in terms of talking about. So yeah, it's fun. That's what's going on with us.
It's exciting. The team
exciting.
is growing. It's more of a family, right? We work as one unit.
Yeah.
A lot of communication going on, and you know, if one person goes away or if someone can't make it for a particular showing, you know, there will always be someone there to assist with every client.
And what is really fun, and I don't say this lightly, but
What is so
in
fun?
all my years of working, I think this is the nicest team I've ever worked with. The nicest team I've ever worked with.
That's really nice of you to say.
Yeah, but
I'm
it's-
going to
but
tell
it-
the other ladies
No,
that.
you can, because it's from the heart. Because
Well, they're going to see it. but-
What's I hope they watch this. What is refreshing is that the dynamic of the different nationalities and experiences and life experiences bring a whole other dimension. So what one person knows, there's no presumption on arrogance or experience or anything. Everybody's just coming to the party and, oh, I know that bit, or I know that bit, or I can do that bit, or we can add that, we can do this. And everything is about giving the best service to the client, giving the best service that we possibly can to let you get your dream home or investment. And that's what it's all about.
So who is the real client?
Oh man, who's the real client? Well, we are, of course. Stop it.
No, you stop it. No, honestly, on a serious note, who is the real client? Because right now on Island, I'm seeing a lot of agents thinking that the client it's a privilege for the client to be working with them.
Absolutely.
Where it should not be like that.
Well, right, if I go back to when I first arrived on Island, the experience that we had when we were looking for an apartment was very much everyone that we spoke to as realtors to try and help us. It was like we were doing them a favor, which I find the bizarrest thing on the planet. And there's a lot of closed questions and there's a lot of narrow focus. Whereas if you take on board that you are our client and our customer and everything we do is geared for you, which could break me into a Bryan Adams song, but I'm not going to do it at this point. We've sung that before. But
thank God.
But generally, by serving the client, everything else will follow. And if you don't worry about the fees and you take that motivation away and you say, okay, we're going to give the best service we possibly can, we're going to deliver the best product for the best price, for whatever that is, everything else will follow.
Right.
And getting that perspective across to our viewers is the kind of most important bit, because for the customer, we're here to serve you, we're here to work for you, we're here to get you what you want. If you're selling, to get you the best price. If you're buying, to get you the best home at the best price we possibly can. So it depends on what side of the fence we're sitting as to how we're going to be operating and how we're going to be working. Mm-hmm. And there are the same tricks and techniques that we can use to get you the best price selling that will get you the best price buying. But that depends on what side we're sitting. And having the best negotiators is always going to give you a strong advantage.
As a seller or a purchaser, you want to make sure you have the right agent on your side. A lot of the times, I have buyers and sellers coming to me about contracts that they've signed that they want to get out of because of the agent ill treatment towards them. And it's just something that you really have to do your due diligence and make sure that your agent is going to show up for you, like MyRealtor team.
When I started Caribbean MGT, which is the holding company for MyRealtor, the first client we had was a buyer who came to us because she had sold her house, and when she showed me some of the emails that she had had from her agent, and this is where she had had a very bad experience, I just couldn't believe how she'd been written to. And it's that sits large in my mind, where well, whatever you're doing, you've got to treat people with respect. And I'm sure we've touched on this before, because I'm feeling like deja vu at the moment. But
definitely.
And we're probably a broken record, but I'm going to keep banging on about it, because service is king. Mm-hmm. Every time. Whatever you're doing, service is king. And if you don't want to give service, go and do something else.
Definitely, and that's what I like about being a part of MyRealtor. We show our true self, we're authentic, we're genuine. People see that from our TikToks, you know. We have nice photos as well, but we're not stuck up and posh, you know what I mean? However, we're very professional, we get straight to the point, and we're always honest, we're reliable, and we bring value to the table every single time.
I'd almost say we're lit.
We lit.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely spot on, Kiara.
No,
and I think it's reinforcing that and getting people to understand that you can be looked after and you can have service and you can have a reasonable price, and it's doing what the customer wants. Now, some of the things won't always please people, and it isn't just going along for the sake of it. But if there's a reason that something isn't possible, it's explaining why it's not possible. It's taking people through the journey as opposed to just, nope, can't do that.
Yeah.
Because there's always ways around things. I mean, we've sat in meetings where we've had issues or situations come up, and I've found solutions and ways around. And
let me tell you something. This guy here is a gangster. I would define him as a gangster because
So whoever's stolen my plant, remember that I'm a gangster.
No, honestly, he's a professional gangster because he has over 44 years of experience. I know that makes him sound old. However,
We should stop saying that. Go on.
However, he comes with all of the knowledge, and I'm just so happy to be part of the team because everyone brings a sort of, like I feel like I bring the more trendy stuff, keep them up to date with what's going on in 2022. But it really helps having this type of knowledge on the team because where you think things are impossible to do, Roger is going to be like, that's bull, because there's always a way to finding a solution. And this is the first company that I've worked for where we find a solution for everything. And until we exhaust all
And we
options.
have found some pretty innovative solutions on things.
Yeah. Whereas the other companies that I've worked for, it's more like, oh well, it happens. Deal fell through.
Basically, property is my background, which I have mentioned before. But if you understand construction, you understand titling, you understand legal, and you understand agency and all the various aspects, then you just intertwine those and you find ways around.
Yeah.
Always solutions.
It's true.
Just got to want to find them.
Mm-hmm. Hire him to consult you. I'm serious. You might think you can't get that loan, but he or me will figure out a way.
There you go.
Another thing is I want to let sellers and buyers know, don't feel like you're stuck to stay with an agent. At the end of the day, it's about you and who you feel comfortable with. Don't make any agent make you feel like you have to stick with them. Oh, I signed the listing. No, complete bull. If you're not happy with them anymore, then say that. I don't like this service. I don't think you're bringing to the table what we discussed in the beginning. And they'll just have to live with that, in my opinion, because I've dealt with listing agent who just care about the commission and not about the client's feelings and the sale of the property. They think only about themselves and how much they're getting. If a buyer wants to bring me in to represent them as the buyer, that's their choice. If they send an email to you saying, I no longer want to deal with this, she is now representing me, please correspond with her. Let's all be professional.
That's how we first met.
Yeah.
That's how we first met.
That is true.
So Kiara was selling a property. She was a buyer who came along, who then reached out to me and said, could I help her? And I turned up, and Kiara was like, who are you? Mm-hmm. And then 12 months later,
here we are.
Here we are.
But that is true. But how I was really shocked when the purchaser did bring Roger. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, well, first of all,
I've lost like half my fee.
No. But then there's always way to negotiate commission. Anything could be negotiated within the agents. That has nothing to do. That doesn't need to be explained to the seller or the purchaser.
Correct.
That has to do with the agents, and we sorted it out, and we got the deal done.
Exactly, we did, and very well. We're going to hypothesize about interest rates, is what we're going to do, and it's a scary time.
I'm hearing that it's going to go up to 8%.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. Yeah, let's not get to where the thresholds are at the moment. Let's just talk through some of the fundamentals, and then we'll ease people through it, because I remember where the petrol price conversations were going 18 months, a year ago, where they were saying, oh, it's going to be $8 a gallon, and it's never hit $8, and it's now actually back down. Cheapest it's been on the island for quite some time. It's just come down again today. I'm pleased I waited a bit to actually fill up. Anyway, so UK managed to mess up their economy spectacularly at the end of last month with the change of leadership and the mini budget they put out, which has shown just how easy it is to mess up an economy and how easy it is to screw things up. So with the mini budget, what they did was effectively give big tax cuts to the top end and have an unbudgeted budget. So the market looked at what they were doing and said, well, there's no way you can pay for that. You're going to need to borrow more, which is going to drive up inflation, which is going to drive up interest rate, So it's a dominoes effect where the things were just toppling over and caused the market to panic and rush on from there. You've then got all the global factors, which are separate to what's going on in the UK, but the UK are blaming it, whereby Ukraine war and energy and all the bits allied into that, and that's having ripple effects across.
Okay.
So then as you come out of COVID as well, pent up spending power that has tricked into inflation that is causing the interest rates to go up because they're trying to control inflation in the various countries. Now, long way round to say that where Cayman sits, it's kind of the end product and byproduct of all of those elements, because we're tied to the dollar, which is pretty robust. So the economy should be in pretty good shape, but we have to import everything. So consequently, the costs go up because of the importation costs, and as the costs of importation go up, obviously the duty goes up, which adds, it's just a spiraling effect. So
it's heartbreaking.
It is, and so the cost of living at the moment is very high and very unaffordable for a lot of people, which is not easy, and something needs to kind of get that in check somewhere down the line. But from the interest point of view, Cayman is probably sitting in a better place than most other countries.
Definitely.
Because it doesn't have to, it's like having a small village running itself. And I don't mean that in any disrespect to Cayman, it's just a number of people where you've got 70,000 people as opposed to 300 million or 70 million, etc. And so we've got interest rates of 5.75 at the minute, and whether I think they will get to about 6.5 probably. I don't think they'll go much higher than that, because I don't think they'll need to go much higher than that. I think the inflationary aspects, I would hope that the business leaders see the sense of not pushing through artificial increases that will drive up inflation needlessly. Now, a lot of that is a wish and a prayer, and as we know, greed can overtake people, and they see a means to increase prices, they might do it. But the fact of what's happened with fuel, and they have been sensible and have now pegged it, I'm hoping that continues, because the barrel prices have stayed falling, although there's some worrying news out of OPEC, which might impact that, but it's not going to be pushing it back up again. So all that scaring and fear-mongering and rumor-mongering and all the horrible stuff.
The real question is, with the interest rate happening, the real question is the market going to crash in 2023? Now, I think Cayman Islands is in a place where we're kind of recession-proof, because like you say, we're country that takes care of itself. It's well looked after, low crime rates, so everyone wants to come here regardless. I've even heard a lot of Americans are renouncing their
citizenship
to be Caymanian.
So that, yes, is the answer to where you are, and I agree with you fully. So Cayman is recession-proof from a perspective that historically, if you look back over prices, what they generally do is plateau or level out. Any other ways to say that? Are you happy with level out?
Yep.
Okay. So they level out as opposed to actually falling back. So you get generally steps going in elongated lines depending on where the economy sits. What you don't get so much is the fallback. You may get delays in transactions rather than any major drop in prices. What I think is going to happen is, if prices do decide to drop, real estate will always be at the pace that it is right now, which is fast, ongoing. So it's always, my advice to anyone is who's looking to wait, I would say just get pre-approved. It can't hurt to know how much you are qualified for. Get your property evaluated if you want to know how much your property is worth, because when it comes down to it, when you find that right property, you want to be ready. You don't want to be too late, which I think a lot of people are
mistaking right now, because there are great value properties right now
Yeah,
on the
absolutely.
market, or that comes on the market. However, it gets snatched up so quickly, and people find that very disappointing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think from the buyer's perspective, you have a lot of control in those situations if you structure yourself correctly. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be overreaching in your purchase anyway, so it's unaffordable. So you should always be looking at, if you're buying with a loan, where can that interest go to? What fixed rate am I taking? What happens at the end of that fixed rate? Where's it going to be going to? So that mindset is kind of where you want to start from. And if you will happily give you guidance and help and consultancy on means and ways of looking at that and budgeting and other bits. But getting yourself as prepared as you possibly can and structured as you possibly can to be in the best possible position to pounce on any particular transaction. Because there will be some great value opportunities where people have other needs and other necessities that force them to sell quickly, that can look like there's kind of drop or whatever, but it just looks good value or great value in the marketplace.
Right.
So yeah, just be prepared. Be a good Boy Scout and be prepared.
Like how you got prepared for the hurricane and buy off everything on the shelves. Be prepared to buy a property.
Exactly.
And have all your ducks in a row. Yeah.
You don't see so many ducks on the shelves in the supermarket though, do you? Have a great month and we'll see you next month.
Yeah. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.